My name is Catherine Norwood. I am a therapist at Covenant Family Solutions. I am also a licensed foster parent, and I work with many foster parents and foster children. And I'm a product of the foster care system myself. So this is an area that I'm very passionate about and excited to bring some just few tips and tools to hopefully help support you in your story with your family. Fostering is not an easy job, and so I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you so much to all the foster parents, suitable relative placements, and other caretakers who are providing love and care for children that are not their biological children. Right now, during the COVID-19 crisis, all families are experiencing a disruption in their normal daily lives. This is especially true for foster parents and foster families because we're dealing with an entire pandemic and level of stress and a break in our consistency. But on top of that, we're dealing with kiddos who've been through trauma of some kind in terms of abuse or neglect. That changes the chemistry of the brain and makes stressful circumstances feel even more. The level of heightened emotional intensity and behaviors is greater if you're a foster parent and to have foster children in your care. So these tools are just to help hopefully de-escalate some tough times and just give you some good ideas for how to proceed, how to continue proceeding through this time. First is establishing consistency and stability. Kids in foster care have not often had a lot of stability and consistency. They have also learned that stressful environments breed abuse and neglect because frequently when things were bad things happen to them. So right now in COVID-19, a lot of things feel bad, and kids in your home may be anticipating bad things happening to them. And so it is so important in stress to create stability and consistency that can help bring their hypervigilant brains down to a new level. It's also really amazing because we're rewriting a story of how stressful environments can look for these kids. No longer are they going to expect abuse or neglect due to a stressful environment, but they're going to see that everything's going to be okay, that every day functions the same, and that even though it's not what we're used to, it's still something that we can look forward to without fear. Another thing is to implement really strong support systems. This can include things like mental health support, behavioral health support, but it also goes deeper than that. It's going to be support with continuing connections with school and continuing to put pieces in place to establish connection to people that are important to these kids during this time. So, which leads into the third category, which is just good connections. These kids need, in terms of support, we need good connections. These kiddos often have a fragile support system that's been upended through the COVID-19 crisis. So the more we can help to engage them in those supports and connections, the more we're helping to enhance their self-esteem, to make them feel validated and seen and heard and loved. If your child has a strong relationship with a teacher, a counselor, or school principal, or any other school support, find ways to engage those supports even though the kids aren't seeing them every day at school. Often kids are not getting their visits or their time with their siblings right now. Encouraging ways to connect kids with their biological family is another way to really help kids de-escalate during this difficult time, because those are their people and they need that connection to their people in a safe and healthy way. So things like FaceTime, text messages, phone calls are wonderful ways to continue the relationship from afar. Sometimes it's hard to engage biological families due to work hours or other things that are getting in the way of making that appointment time sacred. So many people, something that I encourage is the use of the Marco Polo app, because this allows kids to record a live video and their parents can watch it, or siblings can watch it back when they get the opportunity. And then they respond with their own live video. So they still get to see each other face to face, but if they're not able to connect at the same time, they're not missing that face-to-face interaction and engagement. It's also very fun because it has filters and voice effects that can make making those connections even more fun. Another tip is to be an encourager in your kids' life right now. They have had a lot of, oftentimes because of the stress, we have an increase in behaviors, which means we're having to provide more discipline, more consequence, and be focused on some of those negative behaviors. So anytime you catch your kiddo doing things that you are thankful for, or that they're great at, or that they're doing well, emphasize it, build it up, celebrate it, because you're helping to enhance self-esteem and you're helping kids to feel like they have good in them. And sometimes they have negative core beliefs that make them feel like they don't. So anytime you can remind them of who they really are, the good that you see in them, the wonderful things about them, the more you give them an opportunity to rise and feel good and become more. Last is going to be self-care. To every foster parent, to all parents in general, but especially to foster parents, it is important to be practicing healthy self-care. This is a stressful, challenging, difficult time. Not only are we encouraging our kids to practice healthy outlets for taking care of themselves, riding bikes, getting outdoors, playing games, using their imagination, but we also need to offer that gift to ourselves as parents, that we are able to stop and rest, that we are able to eat well and take time for ourselves. The more that we're replenished, the more we have to offer to these kids when they need it most. So don't forget to also make sure you're taking time for you. We may be completely out of routine, but the more we can keep routine of good rest and good healthy habits, the more we're enhancing our ability to be the providers of care and love and support that we want to be. If you or anyone you know is a foster parent, thank you so much. Take time to thank foster parents. Take time to thank people who are giving of this service to others. You're so appreciated and valued. If you're needing any extra support, please reach out and just know that you do not have to do this alone. We are so grateful to you and all that you do, and hope that this video has been helpful in some ways to give you some good ideas for how to survive quarantine as a foster parent. I'm going to end with reading a quote that I just think is so wonderful by Mr. Rogers, and that quote says, "We live in a world where we share responsibility. It's easy to say, it's not my child, it's not my community, it's not my problem. There are those who see a need and respond, and I consider those people my heroes." So thank you for being heroes in the lives of the children in your care.